Welcome to Inside Eastern Utah. Today we are here with Helper City Mayor Ed Chavez. And Ed, you have been a Carbon County resident for 62 years.
Correct.
And you have been a Helper resident for 30 years.
Yes.
You started your career in law enforcement there in Helper.
In Helper City under Chief Carl Stover.
Okay. And about 30 years, and you're retired from that, and
Yes.
now you're the mayor.
Correct.
So you've been the mayor for 4 years. We were in an election year.
Yes, a little over 4 years.
Okay, great. And in this election year, you're running again
Yes.
for mayor, so that's great, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're gonna talk about your past 4 years as mayor and some things that happened in Helper City, and then what you're hoping to do in the future for Helper City
Sounds
as
good.
mayor, so. All
So
right.
a busy past, it's been almost 5 years, 4 years, 9 months, I think you
By the
said.
end
Yeah.
of this year, it'll be 4 years, 9 months.
And that was a busy time for Helper
Yes.
City.
Yeah.
I think the main thing that kept everyone so busy was the sewer and drain project.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about that and how that impacted your role as mayor these past few years?
Sure. When I came in, the minute I was appointed mayor, I met the engineers. The next meeting that we held, we signed the paperwork to get construction started on it. We tore up about 99% of the streets.
Wow.
Put sewer, storm drain, and a majority of them got water, new water lines. Let me go back. The water and the sewer lines were anywhere from 80 to 100 years old.
Wow.
And they were fixing anywhere from 3 to 5 water breaks a week to a tune of about $5,000 per water break.
Yeah,
Wow,
it was
really?
time to upgrade
Yeah.
that system.
Yes, and ever since then, like I say, we had the streets tore up, different sections every year. We've had a lot of complaints, but once it was done, the other areas couldn't wait to get theirs done because they seen how nice the streets and everything turned out.
Yeah, those streets are really nice, and I'm sure people appreciate not having breaks as well every so often.
Exactly.
So.
Every time they worked there, they'd wake up, there'd be a break on their street. So but now it's nice. We met twice a week with engineers and construction personnel. Saying we did, it was Gary Harwood, who's a councilman, also over the water and sewer department. We met with the engineers and the constructions and given updates and changes that we needed to do. When the project started, it was supposed to be just water, sewer, storm drain. Once we put equipment on the ground, we realized we'd had to replace the road
Yes.
because there was no road base. The blacktop, they were going to cut a path through and just put the sewer and water drain down through there, but that didn't work out. Every street got new blacktop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turned into quite a big project.
Yes.
So how long did it take from its inception to be complete?
I want to say we started in the end of March of 2013, and we just finished the last phase of it last month.
Wow. Definitely a long project
Yeah.
then.
Yes, we always had some street tore up, some streets that were left tore up during the winter months. The last crew we had last year worked through the winter months on small projects just to keep up. The last part of our project ended up being on Railroad Avenue, Depot Street, where the railroad depot is, and through the back alleyway where the business is there. And that finished our project up there.
Great. So this is obviously a big deal, not only for the residents of Helper, but for the future of Helper as a whole in the tourism industry.
Yes.
What does your future look like for Helper? What do you see?
But you know, if you would have been down Main Street when I first became mayor, you would think Halper's gonna die. Halper's gonna be a ghost town. We had
A lot of boarded up
a lot of boarded up
buildings.
buildings. We had a few of the artists that had buildings there, but not very many. Once Main Street got done, that opened up
With
the whole area.
with the new
With the
water infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure and the streets being,
blacktop.
blacktop, and then we put in what they call the wedge. My buildings, I shouldn't say my building, our buildings got full.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 2 or 3 buildings left that are not.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, is there even anything left to snatch up? Everyone, I mean, homes in Helper,
Everything.
Yes.
everything on Main Street, everyone's just snatching
Yes.
it right up.
So that is super exciting and fun, and just to see the revitalization happening there.
Right. Right, and I see in the future that we're gonna get a lot more tourism in. I'd like to see more businesses come in also. We need the businesses to keep us going.
Yeah.
We do have the solar project that we're working on to try to bring into the area.
Yes.
There's a couple of hiccups in that one, but I'm pretty sure that'll be going within the next couple of years.
Great.
So that gives us a little taste of what you would hope to see if you're elected mayor
Yes.
again. Tell us expand a bit more on what your plans are to keep this progression moving forward.
I'm gonna start visiting other areas, try to visit other businesses. We're kind of landlocked. We can't grow out very much because of our area, but the areas that we do have, I'd like to bring some industry into it. And I'm willing to go out and visit other areas that have industries that want to, grow and extend out. I meet with Senator Hinkins at least 2 or 3 times a year. Christine Watkins, her and I were on a few committees together some time back, so I know how to contact her, get with her and try to get, help them to get businesses to grow.
And I think a great thing, hopefully, is you've recently retired as well. You were working at Tony Basso GM,
Yes.
and you recently retired from that so you could focus more time on being
Yes.
mayor for the time being and hopefully dedicate more time to the city in the future.
Correct. When I was in law enforcement, I worked for the Sheriff's Department. I worked for then Sheriff Jim Robertson. And when I got into into politics, he told me, he goes, what you want to do is you want to have an open door policy. You don't want to turn people away. You don't want to ignore people. You want to meet with the people if they call. No matter if it's going to be good for you or if it's going to be bad for you. I did that when I was in Wellington City as a councilman. I served 10 years as a councilman for Wellington City. Unfortunate things happened in Wellington with my family, and I moved to Helper. Started my new life there, became mayor, and that's what I had for this last 4 years, an open door policy. People come in, if I'm standing there, they want to meet with me, let's go into my office, we'll sit down and talk. If you want to go downtown and have a drink, a cup of coffee, a soda pop, I'll go downtown, I'll buy. If you want to meet somewhere else, I'll meet with you somewhere else. I'm not going to turn anybody down. Phone calls, I always return all my phone calls. And I continue to do that. I want people to know that I'm there for them. I have the time for them now. Call me.
Great.
And how do people reach you?
Yeah.
If they want to talk about the campaign and your goals for the future, how do they reach you? Do you hold regular office hours?
I know that I go in 2 or 3 times a day into the city hall just to check on things, to see if everything's running right, or if there's anybody that's looking for me. The girls call me if somebody wants to meet with me. A lot of people in the area, since they know me through Tony Basso's and through the Sheriff's Department, have my cell phone number. So and I don't, call me on my cell phone. I don't care. I'm there for you, not to hide. I'm there for you.
Great. So can you tell us a bit more about this solar project you mentioned briefly earlier? For those that don't know, what is the plan? What is the hope for this project?
The solar project is going to be brought into town by a local gentleman who was raised in Carbon County, and then he moved into Salt Lake. Him and his family own property in Carbon County and Helper that extends into the county. The solar project, when they get done with it, will provide enough solar power to, and the way he talks, he's got it already sold to a company, the power to a company up in Uena County. So they'd have to put transmission lines all the way into Uena County to sell this solar.
But the jobs would be
The
created
job will
here
be created
locally.
here locally, and he's talking about putting a small little building where he could make and develop the solar panels and batteries so that would create jobs there too.
That'd be great.
So that could definitely be a great provider in
Yes.
this area for jobs and for the power and whatnot. Even if the power is going out of the area, I mean, the
Right.
job impact would be
Yeah,
phenomenal.
at least we could keep it in the area, we could keep people in the area, and the tax base will come into
Through
our
that.
area.
And you see opportunity, obviously, for other industries like
Yes.
that as well.
With the coal industry going down, and I hate to see that happen. And believe me, my brother was a coal miner, my relatives were coal miners. My dad worked on the railroad who hauled the coal for the coal miners. But you don't see, like on the one railroad, you don't see the trains moving like they used to.
Yeah.
I live close to the railroad tracks. I see coal trains and freight trains going through, but 2 or 3 times a week you see coal cars. You don't see them like they were before, where you see them 2 or 3 times a day. But I'm looking for industries to bring it in here to cover up and bring people back to work.
You specifically mentioned tourism, and you said that you think the future of Helper tourism will be a big thing for
Yeah.
that. So can you talk about what, as mayor, you're doing to get tourism to Helper and what you hope to do if you are elected in the future?
Okay, now that I see the way our town is going,
Yeah.
I'm going to be going up to Salt Lake and visiting with the Utah State Tourism Board.
Yeah.
And you know, Shali is fantastic. She worked with us. She's an awesome person. Actually, she owns a couple of buildings there in Helper.
Yes, and that's Shali Johansson with
Yes.
the Office of Tourism
Yes,
in Carbon County.
and she has been there to help me out. And but I want to go into Salt Lake and start spreading it out throughout the areas. Get the people to come through, visit. We see a lot of tour buses coming through. They stop on the outside of Helper to the convenience stores there. And
Yeah.
I want them to make that turn into town and stop in and walk and meet with the
Yeah.
artisans and meet with the people downtown.
Yeah.
We have a great heritage downtown, a great history downtown. We got people that, if you stop and talk to them, they could tell you the story, a lot about Helper.
Yeah, I love that. You know, for the first time ever in my life, a couple years ago, I went to the Helper Mining Museum and Railroad
Yeah.
Museum, and I had a group of my family with me, my mom and her siblings, and their grandma lived in Castlegate, and so they had such great memories of that they shared, and things in the museum reminded them, or they knew some of the people in the photos, and it
Yeah.
was fun. It was really great, and you're right, just to walk through Helper and see some of the heritage and the history,
Yes.
and to talk to the people is just a great thing. So
Yeah, you know, and you're right, if you go through the museum, there is a lot of back
Yeah.
history from Helper
yeah,
and current history. When the museum first started, my grandmother was one of the first workers in the museum when it was up in the auditorium where the
Oh,
library
really?
is now.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
And she knew a lot of the history. She was raised in Colorado, but she came to Utah when she was a young lady. She knew the history of the coal mines.
Yeah.
She grew up in Royal, which is
yes,
an old ghost town right now.
Yeah.
But she could have told you a lot of stories back then.
that's great.
Yes, well, a lot
we-
of great history,
Yes,
obviously,
we-
but a lot of
and-
great things happening.
People don't realize, we have the world's largest coal miner in town,
That's
Big
right.
John. So, I see a lot of people coming through and stopping and taking pictures of the coal.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely a lot of stuff that
Yes.
Main Street is just, it's
Right.
booming, and there's so much history there, so much to stop for. So hopefully becoming that destination instead of just a
Yes.
stop along the way will be great for Helper, so.
Yes, we do have a lot of good places to eat. Helper's got 2 nice restaurants there to eat. So.
Yes,
Yes.
and it's growing now, so.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time to
Well,
come in
appreciate
and
you
talk
having
with
me. Yeah.
us. So obviously gonna be a busy time for you here coming up with the election.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
everyone keep in mind that the election is coming up. So be sure to stay tuned on Inside Eastern Utah. We're gonna be talking with all the candidates so everyone can be informed on what is happening inside Eastern Utah. We will be back in a few minutes with more.